Tongue, oh yeah, I love tongues. I love tongue. I hate septums because they're hard. Do they want me to say this? I could not have been a bigger asshole. Yeah, most of it, I think what you'll find, oh, thank you. I think you'll find a lot of people are just like, oh, just freehand. It's the only way to do it, blah, blah, blah. And I completely disagree.
Just exactly this couch. Perfect.
My name's Jef Saunders. I've been a piercer since the 90s. I have several bases of operations. Primarily, I'm in Ann Arbor, Michigan at Gamma Piercing. I also own Gamma Piercing in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I also work for the Fakir Musafar Foundation in San Francisco, California. I help out with the APP membership committee. I'm a former APP president, and I helped write the new edition of the Piercing Bible. You know, like when people try too hard, like some people, like it doesn't matter where they go, like they can do a lot and it doesn't look like they're trying too hard. Like Sala.
My name is Jesus Cabanas.
You know, you work with Sala, right?
Hi, everyone.
He doesn't look like he's trying too hard, right? If I look like Sala, I would just look like such a freak. People would be like, what is, dude, dial it back 50%. That's just the way my face is. Yeah, so I didn't want to become a piercer. I was in Connecticut and I was interested in the punk music scene, the hardcore music scene, specifically really the hardcore music scene. And I, through that, got interested in piercing, and my girlfriend and I decided to get a piercing. And when that happened, it was like lightning struck. It immediately became something that I just needed to learn how to do. But when I started learning how to do it, it wasn't because I thought I'd be a piercer, it was because I just desperately needed to know how to do it. It was only after my apprenticeship was done that I was just like, oh yeah, I could actually do this for work. Like it had never really occurred to me that that was the end goal. So when someone walks into Gamma, we have a really specific thing that we want to do, and we really want to make people feel comfortable. I kind of compare it to when I was a kid and I would go into a record store. The people that were working at the record store were the coolest people in the world to me. So when I picked out a record and brought it up to them, if they gave me like the subtle like, this one's cool, that really meant a lot to me. And I want everyone to have that experience. I want everyone to know that we think what they're doing is take some courage, and we think it's really cool that they're showing that courage. We think it's exciting that they're expressing themselves in this way. So that's our main goal, is when people walk through the door that they have enthusiasm from us for the kind of amazing experience that they're about to have. From there, it's you know, the steps of doing a body piercing, but really we just want them to feel that we're as excited as they are. So when we're picking out jewelry for someone's piercing, the primary goal is comfort and its ability to heal. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's the most expensive option. It doesn't mean it's the most ornate option. It doesn't necessarily eliminate those either. It is a case-by-case basis. So for certain piercings, we're really going to be looking very, very simple. And for other piercings, we're going to be able to express ourselves a little bit more. That's why it's so important to me that I have staff that understands that our values are safety and comfort, and making a big sale after that. We also always start with a basis in safety. The jewelry has to be safe, from materials to construction. All of that is the primary thing. But after that, we don't carry jewelry that we don't believe in. But after that, it's about what will work in this specific instance for this specific person. The technique that I use for a specific piercing really is specific to that piercing, and one of the things that's been really important to me throughout my career is that I help piercers understand that there is no one single right way to do a piercing. Every technique, every tool is a new tool in the toolbox, and you know, if you come across a situation where the screwdriver is the right tool for what you're doing, you need to be able to use the screwdriver. You can't be a wrench-only guy. So I don't like it when piercers are just like, I only do freehand or I only do clamped. I think it's important to know all of those techniques and to be able to apply them when circumstances require. Determining the best position, best placement for a piercing on the body requires both skill, training, and experience, because it's not simple, right? The anatomy dictates the placement more often than not, and you have to be able to analyze that anatomy and make an informed decision. Get things 1/8 of an inch off, get things a few millimeters off, it really will affect healing, aesthetics. It'll affect the way jewelry sits. It'll affect the way the piercing flows. The best piercers are able to look at something like an earlobe and treat that as not just a canvas, but other parts of the ear as the frame. So when they're able to analyze first the safety of the piercing and the most appropriate placement, they can also figure out what's going on with jewelry and how it will aesthetically look the best. The concept of health and safety in a piercing studio often is framed as something that we do for our clients. And of course, the client is crucially important. But the client's experience with health and safety is once, and then they leave, and maybe they get other piercings, right? But it's once and it's done, it's once and it's done, and the most experienced client might get 20 or 30 piercings. But you, the piercer, are in the room every single day for hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands of piercings. So health and safety is primarily something that we start with figuring out what's the safest thing we can do for ourselves. When we approach health and safety in that way, when we prioritize our own safety, interestingly enough, the client gets brought along with us. So health and safety is just one of those things where we do that because the baseline for piercing has to be as safe as possible. And that's going to involve just a lot of steps to protect the piercer. And then once we've figured out the steps to protect the piercer, if there's anything that needs to be done in addition to protect the client, we have to do that as well. What I really like about health and safety is that once it becomes very, very good, it becomes very, very simple. The best kind of health and safety in the piercing studio is extraordinarily simple and easy for the piercer and the client getting pierced to understand. Probably the biggest myth about aftercare is that you have a lot of control over how a thing heals. And what I mean by that is that you have a lot of control in terms of messing things up. You can make things not heal. But the way your body's going to heal depends a lot on you, your health, the placement and angle of the piercing, the appropriateness of the jewelry. So the client's job is basically to help the body by being as gentle as possible. Aftercare must be non-invasive. It needs to be very simple and it needs to be very gentle. And that's why we use NeilMed Piercing Aftercare. It's safe, it's gentle, and it really, it takes us out of it. So at my studio, piercing aftercare is now included in the piercing fee, and that's because a lot of times we have clients that get pierced multiple times, so they are able to use the same can of NeilMed Piercing Aftercare that they got the last time. But I always include that in the price when we quote the price, because we want people to not have sticker shock, right? If things are a little bit less expensive after they get pierced because they've already got the aftercare products ready, great. But I always quote it with aftercare included. In the world of piercing right now, piercing just in general is back in a really big way, in a way that I'm very excited about. Piercing isn't just curated ears and nostrils, which isn't to say that I don't love those. I absolutely love those. But when it comes to the modern body piercing, people are getting all sorts of fun stuff. Exotic things, nasalang, septums, paired eyebrows, high nostrils, frontal nose piercings. People are doing nipples again. People are doing genitals again. People are getting all of the piercings that kind of fell out of fashion 10 years ago are back, and they're back in a really big way, in an exciting way, with a modern twist in terms of like the jewelry that's being chosen and stuff. So I couldn't be more excited about where piercing is right now, because it really feels like real body piercing in a way that there's a lot of room for self-expression. In terms of things that I want to see people move on from, it's just like whatever narrows their imagination. The more imagination, the more excitement people can have about piercing, that's what I'm here for. Curation at my studio is a really exciting topic, because I have a staff that's really embraced the idea that curation isn't just with the client, it actually involves the entire community. And I know that sounds strange, so I want to explain. Curation at Gamma Piercing isn't just the client and the jewelry specialist at the front of the house and the piercer kind of collaborating on a specific look. What we've been doing is we've actually been working with local businesses, local boutiques, local flower shops, local movie theaters, and we've been talking to them and getting inspiration from all these cool businesses in our area. And then we've been coming up with custom looks for those different industries, and custom looks that are inspired by a bouquet of flowers or a movie or a book. So if you're a very first timer getting a piercing, the very first thing I want you to do is find the right piercer for you. And that occasionally takes some time. It's not necessarily just scouring the internet for reviews or finding the right price. I would really sort of talk with people in your community and see who has had really positive experiences with people. Because a piercer can be technically proficient and not the right fit for you. I think one of those things is when you find that right combination of safe, great quality jewelry, a good, safe piercing facility, and they resonate with you, and they're the sort of person that really meets you where you're at. I think finding someone like that is probably your most important thing. Once you find someone that you resonate with, the rest will be easy, I promise. Piercings aren't really all that painful, especially when they're done skillfully. So once you have someone that you can talk to and that you feel comfortable with, the rest of the project is going to be a walk in the park. We didn't get rich. No, the most rewarding part of being a body piercer is your connection with your clients, and full stop. It's the only thing that is really lasting, right? Where you have these experiences with people and they can be deeply meaningful, and it can be sort of routinely transcendental, right? It's not delivering a baby, but it is sort of helping someone through a challenging experience in some cases, helping someone feel more like themselves. Every piercer with any longevity is going to tell you, yeah, I'll see people before their weddings. I'll see kids like that turn 5, and this is this big change in their lives. They've been wanting their ears pierced forever, and then today we get to do it. You'll see people on the day they get divorced, and it's just like this amazing experience where people are like marking the end of a relationship or a brand new beginning in their life. So those connections are the most valuable thing that you get in piercing. It isn't just meaningful, it's really deeply spiritually fulfilling. I started training for piercing in 1996. So I'm now approaching 30 years in the industry, and the piercing world has changed tremendously. It's exploded. I mean, when I first started piercing, my family was just like, hey, don't get involved in this fad. It will be gone in a couple years. And here I am, 30 years later. So the fact that it continues is pretty fun. The fact that jewelry has exploded, the amount of jewelry that we have access to and the beauty of that jewelry is really spectacular. I'm so thankful to the people that invested in their time and energy in the 90s to sort of figure all this stuff out. So body piercing if you don't like it right now, give it a minute, because it will change, and it changes a lot, and it has changed a ton throughout the years. Now, if you are a young person, or maybe not even a young person, if you're just a person that's excited to start a job in body piercing, there is so much I would love to tell you. It doesn't necessarily fit into small portions, but the first thing I would say is you want to train, and you want to train with people that are talented and that are respectful of you and your time, and that might take some time. A lot of people, when they're looking to get an apprenticeship or anything, will just deal with anybody to get their foot in the door, and I would tell you that that's not necessary. Moving may be necessary. Staying in your town may not be possible, right? But find someone that is worthwhile of your time and your energy, because you usually end up spending a few years with them, and you want to be able to work with them in a way that feels respectful from both directions, right? You want to be with somebody that whose work and health and safety and their connection with their clients are all things that you admire. If you're looking to get into piercing, find the right piercer, go from there. I will also say, as somebody that teaches at the Fakir Musafar Foundation, that was perhaps the most important educational thing that I ever did. So I always encourage people, do the Fakir Musafar Foundation basic intensive, or if you've been piercing for a while, the comprehensive intensive. It's super, super worthwhile. It's one of the most exciting and beneficial training experiences I've ever had. So my favorite piercing to perform is the one where I'm able to make a connection with the client. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the specific piercing, right? That can be earlobes, it could be ear cartilage, it could be navel, it could be nipples. But if we're able to connect, and if I'm able to give the person the experience that I think they deserve, I really enjoy that type of experience. I'll say that I feel the bulk of the responsibility in making that experience happen is on me. The client is there to get the piercing, and it's up to me to sort of make that connection happen and make it more meaningful. It's not always possible, but I really like when that goes well. My least favorite piercing to do is one where there is a friend who decides that they're the star of the show. I understand it, right? Sometimes it's not mean-spirited, sometimes it's not because they're selfish. They're just trying to be a part of the experience. But when they take away from what we're trying to make happen with between me and the client, it tends to be a lot less fun. So those are my least favorite piercings. So best place to find me online is on my Patreon, patreon.com/piercingnerd. That's for piercers and piercing enthusiasts to sort of read my blog, that sort of thing. If you want to see my shop, gammapiercing.com. Our Instagram is Gamma Piercing. Again, 2 locations, one in Ann Arbor, Michigan, one in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Both those shops, super fun to visit. I think we'd love to see you there if you're in the area. Do they want me to say this? My experience with NeilMed has been incredible. It's a company that I have grown to be very fond of. I know the people there. I visited. I think they're all very, very cool, and they've always been very, very sweet to me and very supportive of me. However, the way it started was they came to the APP conference, and they had piercing aftercare, and it was saline solution in a spray can that said piercing aftercare. And when I tell you that this was something that I had been praying for years to happen, I'm not exaggerating. We desperately wanted this to happen. So when NeilMed showed up and they had the thing, it was so exciting. I basically danced home from Las Vegas. I was like, we finally have it. And then I saw the aftercare packaging that they had originally produced for piercing. And I understand why it happened like this. They talked to people about like, hey, we're doing something with piercing, and that person, which piercers know what this sounds like, the graphic designer or whoever heard piercing and then put out tattooing. So the original can of Piercing Aftercare was all tattoo imagery. It was just like lots and lots and lots and lots of fonts, flames and 8 balls, and my recollection of it is probably worse than it actually was, but I did not like the packaging. And me being the way that I am, I immediately was just like, I hate your packaging. It looks stupid. It should look like this. I don't know who Dr. Meta is because it said Aftercare by Dr. Meta. And get that guy off the package and send, right? So I sent them the email, and just, immediately that evaporated from my brain. And it was like, I want to say about 4 days later, I get a phone call. It's just like, hello, is this Jeff? It's like, yeah, this is Jeff. It's like, we've got Dr. Meta on the phone. He wants to talk to you. And, I kind of froze. It was like, oh, I didn't expect this. But then immediately they started a conversation with me about the Piercing Aftercare packaging. And they came up with this beautiful packaging that I absolutely love. And I think they did a great job with it. So it started with me being a jerk, and they forgave me. And we've been friends ever since. That'd be amazing. Like, we're going to get you back for that email you sent years ago. Do you want to grab this? I'm going to drop it. Go crazy. They do not understand how hard it is to make this kind of content. It's so hard. Yeah, they will tear you apart. Yeah. And the thing is that, like, some of it's difference of opinion, but a lot of times people are trained in piercing that what they learned today was like sent from God, right? And that's not true, right? This stuff changes, and there's also a variety of opinions on it. And you have, like, the truth is that, like, I can get away with being like, everyone says this, but I'm saying the exact opposite. And people will be like, well, I'll listen because it's Jeff, which isn't fair, right? Like, it shouldn't be like that. Yeah. But it definitely is.